While the time war raged on around them, Gallifrey told themselves their past in stories, explained their present with stories, and foretold their future with stories. And so, the best place by the fire was held for you-know-who.
No. Who?
Me. You're ruining the title sequence.
Just introduce yourself and let's get on with this.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to You Know Who. I'm your host, the War Reviewer. Fairy tales.
Is that what we're having for dinner?
No. A good fairy tale has a hero, a companion, and a monster. A great fairy tale blurs the lines between all three.
Lines? What lines? Storytelling is an audio medium.
Well, no, this is a TV show. Rather, it's my review of a TV show.
So you're not telling a story. This seems overly complicated.
Shut up, Jim. This is Doctor Who, The Beast Below.
In space, a city floats atop a shell, decorated with the British flag. There are city names on various skyscrapers. As school lets out, a group of children are complimented by a boxed dummy. Except for young not Ron Weasley, aka Timmy. He's a bad boy and earned a 0. His friend tells him he can't ride the elevator with a 0 or he'll be sent below. He ignores her and boards an elevator to London. A video of a girl reciting a rhyme plays, warning him of the beast below. Suddenly, the elevator drops, and as the booth man takes on a more sinister visage, the floor opens above a glowing red pit, and Timmy falls in. Amy Pond, held by the 11th Doctor, floats through space. Her narration explains that her once imaginary friend, the Doctor, has come back the day before her wedding and is taking her through time and space. The TARDIS floats above the city. The Doctor explains that humanity had to leave Earth in the 29th century. Whole nations left on their own ships. This is Starship UK, all of Britain flying through space. The Doctor warns Amy that they must never interfere, even as the TARDIS monitor shows them Timmy's friend, sitting alone and crying. Amy wonders if she'll be able to be so detached when she sees the Doctor approach the girl on the screen.
This is getting very meta very quickly, isn't it, Jim? Jim? Jim?
Ain't I a stinker?
Society is a bit primitive aboard the ship, and the Doctor assumes that the Brits are in a police state. He puts a glass of water on the ground, but won't explain to Amy. They find the girl, but they're also being followed, their every move reported to a mysterious woman with a mask who's sitting in front of dozens of glasses of water. The girl is crying silently, and the adults are all ignoring her, so something terrible has happened that everyone knows about, but they can't or won't help her. The girl's name is Mandy. The Doctor picked her pocket. He gets Amy to go ask her about the smiley men in the booths while he pursues other investigatory paths. She follows Mandy into some service tunnels, but they come to a hole. Mandy, when pressed, says that it's a hole to below, and they're not supposed to talk about it. Also, why does Amy sound Scottish? The Scottish aren't here. They wanted their own ship.
Aye, laddie, that we did. And we'll nae be making all the pit stops and scenic detours that the British do. A to Z, that's how the Scots fly. You know, people really seem to like that Scottish accent. Maybe I should get a Scottish assistant.
I'm right here.
This is where we start to see how good Karen Gillian is. She's all sorts of sassy and fun in this first part of the episode, but balances it out with later moments of doubt and fear. The nearby booth guy, okay, I'm just going to jump ahead and call them Smilers, even though we haven't been given that name in the story yet, turns sour, even as Amy, wondering about her future past wedding, picks the lock on the barricade around the hole. The Smiler goes feral. Amy discovers a bioluminescent scorpion stinger and backs out. She's surrounded by the men in hoods who have been watching her and quickly gassed. The Doctor's in the engine room. He finds another still glass of water. The woman in the mask is there, and she knows he's the Doctor. On a ship this large, the engines should be vibrating. They'd see it shake the water, but the water is still. No engines. So how are they moving through space? It's a mystery they need help solving, and she gives him a tracker to lead him to Amy. Her name is Liz 10. Amy wakes up in a voting cubicle with a smiler. A video about the truth behind Starship UK plays. The narrator explains, as a British citizen, she's entitled to the truth. She can either protest or forget. If so much as 1% of the population protests, the program will be discontinued with severe consequences. If she forgets, the British people will continue to enjoy the program's benefits. Suddenly, Amy is pulling her hand off the forget button, tears on her face. A video of herself plays. She must find the doctor and get him off this ship. As the video ends, she finds the doctor and Mandy waiting outside. Mandy explains everyone 16 and older watches that film, and again every 5 years. Everyone chooses to forget. Sadly, there's not much more to Mandy, played by Hannah Sharp. She's pretty much there just to answer questions as she follows the adults around. She's this episode's exposition device. But the Doctor is the last of the Time Lords, and he won't forget how it went wrong. He hits the protest button, and Amy and the Doctor are sealed in the booth and dropped just as Timmy was. Mandy is met by Liz X, who takes off her mask. Mandy recognizes her. The Doctor and Amy are dropped into the trash compactor scene from Star Wars. They've dropped to the heart of the ship. It's all organic matter down here with them, and they're sitting on a sort of rubbery tongue. This is a giant mouth. Well, the giant teeth mean they're not getting out that way. Unfortunately, they've triggered a swallowing reflex, so the Doctor stimulates certain sensors in the body and reverses it.
Oh, is this what we've come to? Puke jokes? Why not fart jokes, or... Well, I'm certain there must be some other funny bodily function.
Like florching?
What's florching?
It's something my people do. Hilarious. 1 minute.
They wake up in an overspilled pipe. The only way out is to press a forget button with a pair of smilers at the other end of the tunnel. The Doctor knows there's a living creature at the heart of the ship and he won't forget. The booths open and the smilers step out. The smilers, while visually frightening, are a bit of a mystery in this episode. We never really understand what they are or what purpose they serve. They seem to monitor the population, but why do they need to be able to leave their booths to do that? Are they capable of killing people? We never really get a satisfactory explanation. Liz 10 shoots them. She's there with Mandy. Liz is not technically a British citizen, so she's never voted. She doesn't know what the secret of the ship is, but was raised on stories of the Doctor. She mentions former monarchs the Doctor has known, some in every sense of the word. She's Elizabeth X, Queen of the British Empire. They find 2 more of the stinger tentacles, part of the beast at the heart of the ship. They're growing up through the mechanisms and structures of the city. Liz is convinced someone is feeding her citizens to the beast. Sophie Okonedo gets to have a lot of fun with Liz 10. There's a wonderful stubbornness to this character. She's willing to overturn any apple cart, kick down any wall to get to the truth. That makes the eventual revelations she experiences that much more heartbreaking. She truly does care, and in turn, that's this character's downfall. The spy master from earlier spots them in the lower levels. He sends his agents after Liz and company. Liz has been ruling since she was 40 years old. They slowed her aging down. She wears the mask in public to do undercover work. She wants to know what secrets are being kept from her. The Doctor notes this is a porcelain mask, and it's matched perfectly to her face when the men in hoods enter. They twist their heads around. They're human smiler hybrids, and they're taking Liz and company in for answers. Liz orders them to stand down, but they answer to an authority she can't supersede. They take them to the tower. Actually a dungeon. The Smiler's master, Hawthorne, is there, as are the missing children. Protesters are fed to the beast, but for some reason it won't eat children, so they're put to work in the tower. They find an exposed section of the creature's brain. It's regularly zapped with electricity. There's only one person being tortured here. The beast itself. Starship UK can't fly on its own. They trapped the beast and must torture it to keep it moving through space. The entire country is literally built on the back of slave labor.
Metaphor!
Seriously, you don't have to beat us over the head with this message. Empires are built on the back of the oppressed. The English Empire especially, and now they're repeating that same sequence of horrific events in space by enslaving this star whale to their needs. The Doctor releases a tentacle, and with his sonic, brings the creature's cries up to a level humans can hear. Liz demands to know who ordered this, and Hawthorne again tells her they obey the highest authority. She demands they free the beast, but they don't move. The Doctor refers her to the mask. It's much older than 10 years, but it was made for her face. The aging process on her body was slowed down much more than she thought. She's almost 300 years old. Every 10 years or so, her desire to learn the mysteries of the Starship lead her here, and then she forces herself to forget. She enslaved the beast. They watch a video Liz left for herself. The creature is the last of the star whales. The UK was the last country on Earth as the sun was beginning to destroy all life. With no one left to help them, they couldn't get their ship into orbit. The star whale answered the cries of the children of the UK, and they enslaved it to save themselves. She must either forget or abdicate. Freeing the star whale will destroy the British Empire. Amy voted for this because she knew the Doctor would either have to sacrifice the whale or the British people. He's furious that Amy took that decision away from him and tells her after this, she's going home. She's done. He's decided to lobotomize the star whale. It will feel no more pain, and the British race will survive. Amy and Liz want to find another way, but he screams at them to be silent. He's done being the Doctor after this. Matt Smith is also truly starting to make his mark on the role, following up from David Tennant's jaded but at times childlike cynic. Here, he's playing the Doctor a bit more carefree, but still capable of making hard calls no matter what the cost to himself. He's doing angry Doctor here, which isn't really his strength. Future episodes will introduce us to sarcastic Doctor, who will be the one to put people in their place rather than angry Doctor.
Can you imagine if the Doctor was angry all the time? Like, say he was trapped in some sort of ongoing war and he regenerated into a warrior, and he wasn't like the Doctor anymore, except he was exactly like the Doctor, but he refuses to call himself the Doctor, but everyone else
Please,
does.
you have to get me out of this review! He is insane!
Sort of huge philosophical change. And
Timmy comes in with more children. Amy notices a tentacle stinger playing with Mandy and Timmy, allowing itself to be touched. She remembers that the star whale came when the children were dying, that it wouldn't eat the children. Epiphany! She grabs Liz and they touch the abdicate button. The entire ship shakes as the torture mechanism shuts down. Within moments, the speed has increased. The star whale is still there. It wasn't a coincidence when it showed up all those years ago. It was rescuing them. The star whale wanted to save them. When you're very old, very alone, and very kind, you just can't stand by and watch children suffer. Later, Amy brings the Doctor Liz's mask. No more secrets on Starship UK. He's not happy that she almost killed everyone here, but she did save the star whale. And him. They hug. This episode did a great job of introducing Amy to the Doctor's world as well as introducing Amy to us. The world is madcap, bizarre, and illogical with tons of dangers and excitement. Amy, for her part, is fully capable of standing up to these trials, but can also make mistakes. She brings the aforementioned sass, usually backed up by a wonderful sort of know-it-allism that keeps the Doctor in his place. Leaving, Amy almost tells the Doctor about her wedding, but they hear a phone ringing in the TARDIS. She answers it. Winston Churchill for the Doctor. He needs the Doctor right now. There's a very familiar, shadowy problem looming. The friends take off for their next adventure as we hear Amy voice a new rhyme. They all depend on the beast below, but even as the starship drifts by in what is probably the nicest effects shot of the episode, the star whale is gorgeous. We see a very familiar crack show up on the ship's hull.
well, that's the beast below. In many ways, the Doctor's second episode is just as important as his first, for it's in the second episode that you can really establish the Doctor-companion dynamic. This episode does that in a fun way, while also setting Amy up as the perfect foil for the 11th Doctor. It was also nice to end an episode without the evil alien being destroyed, because here, the British people are the evil alien. But they're not really evil, only misguided. And now, both species can live together in harmony. I give Doctor Who the Beast Below 4 TARDISes out of 5. And with that, we wrap things up. Of course, the Time War still rages on outside, so we'll have to exterminate. We'll fight them together, Jim, side by side. Jim? Oh, hell. Well, we've run away from the Time War. Does that make us cowards, Jim?
Absolutely.
Good. Better a live coward than a dead hero, I always say. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time here on You Know Who.
Oh, no. I'm not running this puppet again. It's a pain being both of you. If You Know Who comes back again, you're going to be that Patrick Troughton-sounding guy again with Jamie.
I'll see you next time here on You Know Who.